Hello, Julie Norman here, body image guru with bodykarmahealing.com. Change your body image, change the world. And we are here today to explore breathing and asana practices, poses for Swadhisthana, the second chakra. This is module 3 in the Body Karma Healing Foundation's e-course. The theme here is flowing through life. So in our last module, we grounded into our worth and into Muladhara, the root chakra, and got our feet on the ground, got ourselves into our bodies a bit, which I know could be incredibly hard when you don't like your body and you're feeling fat, but that's imperative, getting that physical presence. That first step of the fat practice is necessary to hear the heart, accept and allow through ahimsa, become nonviolent, and to transform your experience from feeling fat to feeling free, so you can actually be free and you can live the life you came here to live. You did not come here to play small, my friends. So, second chakra is it, baby. I'm all about the earth, but here in Swadhisthana, we really get into the Shakti, the divine, feminine, creative life force. This is our power center as women. This is the first emotional center. The heart is the second. This is our first intuitive center. Ajna chakra is the second. This is our first creative center. Root chakra is the secondary on that. And I don't think we think about it that way so much in a lot of the New Age yoga spiritual realm. So again, I'm just giving you my interpretation of the path of yoga, my personal professional experience, and I hope it inspires you to peace. So we're going to begin with a little bit of breathing work that helps evoke the feminine energy, to free the feminine energy. There are 2 central energy channels. So we have the 7 chakras, but we also have this main central energy channel called Sushumna Nadi that I imagine as a column of light taking up like the crown of the head and down through the core of the body, through the sit bones, to that anchor in the core of the earth, up into the cosmos, as above, so below. And then there's 2 paths within Sushumna Nadi, Ida and Pingala. The Ida Nadi is the feminine and the breath practice of Chandra Vedana. I think I'm saying that right. It's in your PDF download. Is left nostril breathing. And this left nostril breathing helps, it's a cooling breath, and it helps to settle anxiety, our fear, anxiety, and tension, and it helps balance and bring that feminine energy up. So all we're going to do is sit here in Sukhasana, a comfortable seated pose. Before we begin that, just looking, we have our altar, we have our sacred light burning, the lotus flower, Body Karma Healing prayer card, and poem book that you can get over at lightworkswonders.com. And fat, because fat is symbolic of our fear of fat, is really just metaphor for our fear of Shakti. So we're going to really work down into areas of our body that we think have too much fat, our butt and hips and our lower belly and maybe even our love handles. And the singing bowl, of course. I have some water element in my tea sitting here, and also in my horse mug with the color blue and horses running, evoking that totem for freedom. I also have on my whale tail, because the second chakra is water element, from earth to water, and whales are, and the ocean is deeply feminine and powerful. I have my daughter's lovely blue yoga mat for water element, and the color of the second chakra in orange, although it's kind of an orangish pink, which makes sense. Pink is pretty feminine, right? I have a rose quartz. our earth element to ground us and provide a container for water and flow. Rose quartz is symbolic of nurturance and mothering and really coming into our joy. And then we have the chakra card here for Swadhisthana, chakra 2. And that karma we talk about, the drop in the water, the drop in the thought and emotion, expression, everything ripples out. We're all interconnected here. And what you create from here and what you allow to flow creates your life. And you want to do it consciously. And that starts with being grounded in the body so that in this energy center, you can allow the flow of life. Emotions, intuition, creativity, desire, those things we so often fear. So in our practice today, we're going to free that up. Let's come right into breathing. Sitting in Sukhasana, an easy pose for you. Just a chair is fine. Just ground through the left hand on the left side of the body. Bring your right and middle finger to the right nostril. And all you're going to do is practice that Dirga breath, a complete yogic breath, with the right nostril closed off. So just breathing through the left nostril. That's it. If you're stuffy, skip this practice. Just breathe the best you can through the nose, both nostrils and the mouth. Or try your neti pot. That's a great practice to clear the sinuses. So let's just give it about a minute. Breathe down into the roots of your body. Feel the soothing quality of the breath nurturing you, bringing lightness to any tension. Getting still, just being is very feminine and will often evoke the ego, trigger the vritti mind, trigger fear, anger, irritation. Or maybe just getting still and breathing. You start to feel in a higher vibration up into grief or joy. Maybe saying just take a few breaths on your own, Dirga. And just start to circle very slowly, feeling down into the pelvic bowl. Let the movement originate from there. From down in the area of the belly button, the hips and the low back. Just start to circle around. Our practice today is going to be very fluid. Last time we really worked with structure and boundary. And we need that. We need to feel safe. We need a home for the soul. The translation of Swadhisthana is one's own home. And so once we accept that we're here in a body, our work is to feel at home here. And to feel at home here, we need to feel. So cultivating that physical presence, take some bigger circles. Maybe even rocking the pelvis forward and back as you circle around. Make sure you go the other direction several times. This can be your whole practice sometimes. Just sitting, your body karma healing, clearing, and some big, beautiful belly rolls. Love the belly. Dare with me. Bring your hands to it. Down here low. In the module, we talk a little bit about inner child work and healing the mother wound. And this is a huge, big concept that I give you a link to a fabulous blog on this. It is not to blame and shame our mothers. It is to understand that they also inherited this karma of repressing the feminine in their mothers and their mothers and their mothers. And we are all walking ourselves home. But you have to nurture you. Once you're beyond being a child, certainly healing those wounds of not getting what we needed from our true mothers. But even if you had the best mom in the world, you've got to learn how to internalize that mothering for yourself. Let's go ahead and transition, come right into child's pose. So I'm going to go through a good amount of poses with you for second chakra. Take the big toes together, take the knees wide to the outside edges of the mat. Let me just stay up here on your fingertips for a moment and really wiggle down. Now a note here, if you have suffered sexual trauma, second chakra work is going to be, quite frankly, hell sometimes. And I say that because I don't like to sugarcoat it. Healing is hard. So to connect with the feminine aspects of your body, the second chakra does come into the pleasure centers and the reproductive centers. And if we've disconnected from there because of pain, your practice is going to awaken those old wounds. So maybe you practice, I have lots of clients that practice with me so they feel safe. And they also have a therapist and lots of other support people. Get what you need for your journey. The path of yoga is just one piece of the puzzle. It's not a cure-all, nothing's a cure-all. So go ahead and wiggle in. Usually child's pose feels pretty safe. Reaching the arms forward, let the forehead come to the mat. So what I love here is that we're sinking down into that pelvic bowl, into the hips, into the first intuitive center, but then also touching the third eye center on the forehead to the earth. I like to connect those 2 points through the breath as I rest in child's pose. Big full deep breaths in all the way to the tailbone, swirling into the hips. Just notice tension holding in this part of the body, in the low back, in the low belly. See if you can't just let go 1 or 2% more. No pushing, no judging. I personally like to keep my hands really pressing into the earth in child's pose, keeping the arms engaged and opening the heart center. In fact, let's dance a little bit in the shoulders here. Lift your head just off the mat and wiggle. Oh, get into that shoulder space. What I love about yoga is we don't compartmentalize the body. So even though through each of these video modules we'll be focusing on a certain chakra and certain parts of the body that relates to that. The chakras relate to the whole body. The whole body is interconnected. You can't separate it out. We're just systematizing a bit to help us explore and build awareness and understand, but it's all one, baby. Beautiful. And then you're going to pull yourself up through table pose, a pose we learned last module. Module 1, line up those 4 points of the hands and knees on the earth. Open the heart, draw the shoulders back. A nice neutral spine. Instead of cat-cow pose here, and again, listen to yourself. Don't push yourself to do what's totally uncomfortable, but do explore your edge and bring the breath into what's triggering or scary or what you get just irritated with, because that's probably what you need to connect with to heal. So just start swaying the hips side to side. Let the rest of the body flow with this. So the opposite elbow bends, dances towards the earth, getting some mobility in the spine. And you can just stay here, or if you want to dig deep into that second chakra with me, try just isolating the pelvis and circling it. Kind of looks like we're going to start a whole new video series here, right? Where's the stripper pole? Just kidding. Not really. Beautiful. If you need a little more support under your knees, you can always pull your blanket in. Make sure you always sit on a blanket when you meditate. Most of us aren't open enough in the hips and low back to sit comfortably flat on the ground. Nice. And from here, we're going to come into a low lunge. So step your left side through. I like to start on the left side because I like to lead with that feminine energy. So bring your 2 blocks in, just inside the left foot. Left knee in line with the hip. And then here we're just going to rest on the blocks with the right hand. Left hand to the left knee. Make sure you're pressing the top of that back foot down so you stay light in the grounded knee. You're just going to play here with some big circles. Like you're drawing a circle with the outer edge of your foot and with your knee. And that's moving up into the ball and socket joint of the hip. The hips and shoulders are both ball and socket joints. They move in all kinds of directions, yet we just, like trains, we're like on treadmills and ellipticals and running and power walking. Get into the circle of things. I'm going to go the other way a few times, and you'll probably sink right into some sensation here. Low hamstrings, hip flexors. This part of the body does not get enough attention. Nice. And this too, take a moment then to just be in your low lunge. Next module, we're going to work into some sun salutations, and later in this one, we can play with some moon salutations. We're going to get deep in the hips, so just a nice low lunge, lift the heart, let the pelvis melt down towards the earth and a little forward. You can even walk your blocks back a bit. You could even free your arms up, come into Ajna Asana, low lunge. Beautiful. And come on down. Try that other side. Just press back. Slide the left foot back. If you have more of a practice, you want to pop up into a downward dog and then bring that other foot forward, or release back into child's pose again. Start here, just playing with the hip joint. So one of my big body image hang-ups for a long time was my thighs, my ghetto booty, my hips. I actually had a old boss of mine when I worked at an ice cream stand as a teenager. I mean, I was young, and he would make body comments to all the girls. It was really horrible, and I was thunder thighs. So lots of root chakra, second chakra trauma there. Plus, I didn't have a very nurturing mother. I loved my mom infinitely, but she is herself in a lot of addiction. I have an alcoholic father that has been untreated for years, and I had to really set boundaries. I had to really take care of myself to pull out of that unhealthy system. And so it's no wonder I developed an eating disorder, but even beyond this life experience, we're coming here with some, I believe, some patterns and inheriting some stuff. Go ahead, come to that low lunge. Blocks on either side of the right foot. Keep that foot really in line with the hip, the knee in line with the hip, and just melt. And maybe you come back, and maybe you reach up. Nice steady breath. And come on down, flowing. Let's pull the blocks back, or your foot back. Move your blocks out of the way. Nope, keep your blocks with you. Turn the toes under. Walk the blocks back, come up through a little squat. And then use the blocks to help you come standing in a forward fold. I'm going to come up to the middle of the mat. You can stay there at the back if you like. Make sure, just like you're setting up for mountain pose, feet are hip distance apart, toes point forward. Rest lightly on the mat, press the feet out. Come as tall as you can on the blocks and flatten your back out. Lift the tailbone, press the feet out and broaden the base of the pelvis there. Open that second chakra. And then fold forward. Now here we are, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Go ahead, play. Rock back and forth a bit. Lift onto the toes, lift off the toes. Try sinking deep and lifting the heart. And then folding forward. Find a little flow there. Feel that relationship of the earth. Ooh, got some beautiful sunshine coming in. Feel the relationship of the earth. Structure giving you the opportunity to be free and flow. Hang the hands, maybe reach to the ground. And just kind of play a little more. So I think of Uttanasana, I think of my body, the legs being that root chakra, being like the face of a cliff. And then from the sacral region up, flowing down and out through the arms and the crown of the head is a waterfall. So be a waterfall in Uttanasana. Strong mountain cliff face, and then that free flowing essence of water. Hug the low belly in and lengthen the spine as you exhale. Drop your head, drop the thinking mind. Just observe, just feel. Breath, the body. Your wholeness, your okayness, even your awesomeness. Give the legs some love. Again, if it's out of your league at this moment, that's okay. Do not press yourself. Let's move the blocks out of the way. Deepen the bend in the knees. And then start to open heart center. You're going to press down and out with the feet to lift up. Hasta Tadasana. We did this the last time. You probably can't see all of me. Exhale, flow. Take a few breaths here. Flowing. Get that root chakra energized and then flow through the hips. in the spine. Beautiful. We're going to come back on down to the earth. Hang in that forward fold. And then play with walking your hands forward. I have to walk my feet back a bit because I stepped up. Play with downward dog. Just move it around here. You can, if you like, press into one foot. Lift the opposite leg. Bend the knee. We call this three-legged dog. And it's great for opening the hips. I'm going to try the other side. Oh, looky, there's my belly. Let your belly hang out. Let yourself be full and free. Square off the shoulders, melt the heart. Ooh, and come on down. Knees to the mat. Take a press back in child's pose. Try it with just your knees together, hip distance apart. And bringing your arms around your sides. And let's take a moment here in our practice to connect with our inner child. When I say that, notice what version of yourself shows up. Maybe it's an infant or a toddler or a schoolgirl, even an adolescent. Just rock side to side a bit in balasana, child's pose. And center some breaths of connection, compassion. Has she gotten what she needs from you? Does she get what she needs from you? Does she have any messages? Just listen. And take your time to flow up into table pose again. Wardrobe adjustment. Now that the hips are nice and warm through the poses we've done so far, we're going to find pigeon pose, which is a doozy. In fact, pigeon is known in the yoga world for making people cry, which is not a bad thing. So much of the time we have tons of repressed emotion in the Shakti center, and we get into our practice and start to move that energy. And that's all emotions are, is energy, stored energy. So they are not to be feared. They will not last forever. They hang on when we're hanging on. So in my video blog on the niyamas, yama niyamas, I talk about surrender in the first chakra, and also truthfulness, really saying how you feel. So let's come up on our fingertips, walk them a little bit forward, and you're going to draw your right knee up just behind and out a little bit from the right wrist. You're going to flex the left foot. Now, hi Sir Hillary. Turn the left toes under. And be mindful of your knees here. If you have knee trouble at all, if your knees need a little extra love, I'm going to give you another version of this pose. We'll do it on our back. So if you start to feel pain at any time, not just in the knee, but anywhere, come out of the pose. So see how I'm turning the left toes under, my back leg, walking that foot back. I'm keeping my hips nice and square to the front of the mat, and sinking into, oh boy, a big hip opener. Keep that right foot flexing and lift tall through the heart. Now what often happens is people fall onto that outside hip. Keep your hips square, and if you need to, bring in, I lost my blanket to the cat, so I'm going to set a block, which is a little more than I need right here, but just putting a block under that right hip so that I can rest here in the posture, pressing the top of the left foot flat. I'm going to lengthen out onto my forearms. And again, I want you to practice connecting Swadhisthana, the second chakra, with Ajna, the third eye center. So prayer hands here, elbows under the shoulders. Press your fingers away from each other as you press into each other. Empowered prayer hands. And rest your forehead on your thumb tips at the third eye. Big, beautiful ball of radiant orange light filling up the womb space, your uterus, the lower intestinal tract. Radiating out beyond the body. Your power, your sukha, your sweetness. And also meditating on Ajna chakra, an indigo blue orb of light, just in beyond your thumb tips, about the size of a golf ball. Intuition, inner knowing, you are wise. Your body is wise. Your body is the voice of the soul. You can trust her. This is a pose you can hang out in for a long time. We're going to press back up and out. In the interest of time, remove your prop if you put one there. And then just press back into child's pose again, or if you like, downward dog. Take just 3 breaths. I'm going to keep my arms really lifted, melting into that heart center. Sinking down into the hips, like you have a weight at your tailbone. Wiggle back. And press the hands to the earth, draw back up to table, a handprint or 2 up. Left knee comes up behind the left wrist. See, I'm always changing things. I said I like to start on the left side. We did the right side first. Step back gently into your pigeon on this side, and you will probably notice a difference side to side. In most poses, we do, and it just depends on how you're living life, how you're going through your days. So just noticing here, see that space I have under the hip? Again, I'd like a little bit of blanket, but the cat is on it. So I'm just going to put a flat block there. At first, lengthening up. Engage the pelvic floor a bit. So like, it's a little beyond stopping the flow of urine, but it kind of starts there, and try to kind of engage up inside the low belly. Still enough ease to flow the breath through. Tailbone doesn't tuck under, but it drops. Your right glute hugs in just a bit in a nice straight line from the right hip down to the right heel. Really lengthen out of the spine. Find your way down again. And you can prop this pose up even more. Work with a teacher. Or give me a call. We can do a Skype session, or I can refer someone in your area. I've got lots of connections throughout the US of A. If you have a quote-unquote larger body, or perhaps you're struggling in the stages of anorexia and you're malnourished, you definitely want to work one-on-one with somebody to make modifications. And it's always a good idea to practice. Get a home studio. Here where I live in Northeast Ohio, my home studio is the Studio on Liberty in Worcester, and Life Source Yoga in Fair Lawn, Bath area. But lots of great places around. If you're in Acronite, Blue Hen Yoga. Up a little closer north is Namaste Yoga. I hear there's some great places in Cleveland. Awaken Yoga out towards Mentor, I hear wonderful things about. Centerpiece Yoga in Kent. So right now, just into the breath. Move into the sensation, just like what you're feeling here in your posture. That it's out of the comfort zone a little, but there's something good about it. You can tell you need it. This is the metaphor for moving into our emotions instead of trying to get rid of them. And trying to get rid of the body is metaphor for trying to get rid of Shakti. Let's come on up and out. Move that left block. And instead of going back to child's pose, go ahead, drop on that left hip, sweep the right leg around, and facing the front of your mat here, you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. So I like to do this pose a couple different ways. I'm going to show you 3 options to wrap up our module 3 if you like. Cat totem apparently is in our practice today as well. Cats are a symbol of the divine feminine, of course. So anchor the hands to the ankles if you can, or you can use a strap or a towel. And then lift really big up through the heart, melt the shoulders away from the ears, and even lean back a bit, allowing this structure to free the inner thighs and groin area. Just don't press the knees down and out, just let them drop from this frame. Our bodies are the messengers of the soul. And what's happening within the fluctuations, here we are flowing through life. As I'm putting out this e-course, my weight's in a higher range than it usually is. And that's okay. It's flowing with the changes in my life. I'm needing more grounding right now. I've had to work really hard at receiving a tremendous amount of abundance that is actually receiving what I manifested. And we're all still healing. And healing is scary and hard, and our bodies are just trying to help us through it. So if I would start forcing my body to change right now, or I would hold back moving forward with body karma healing, I'd be losing the lessons, baby. So you can rock here a bit. Even free your hands up, grab your toes, and come into some bigger flowing, rocking motions. And now it's dog and cat time. Hi, Asha Bear. This is Asha. Hi. Beautiful. All right, then let's take Baddha Konasana as a forward fold. So I'm going to press my stone and my chakra thing forward here, and also let my feet press out. See all this love? You're going to bring your hands to your feet, or as close as you can to them. You could rest them on the insides of your legs, but draw the heart forward and bow out of the hips, out of the low back, out of that second chakra. I like to drop my elbows inside this diamond shape we create with our body and just bow into yourself. Again, revisiting that inner child, sending her some healing love and light, letting her know it is safe to be in this body and to be fully in her power. Let her know that it's okay to dive into the waters of life, that what lies below the surface is sacred. Let her know that when she's following her heart, she is divinely guided and protected It's the fear that manifests our fears. Moving through it manifests love. Of course, love is what you are. Inhale, come up nice and tall. One final pose for this practice. Supta Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana is that bound angle pose we were just in. Doing it as a restorative pose is just about the best thing you can do for clearing and healing and balancing the second chakra. So you're going to help yourself down onto your back. Keep your blocks close by, next to your legs. And this is a very simple version of this restorative pose. You can prop it up even more. Perhaps I'll do a video on that sometime, but for now, just short and sweet. Come down onto your back. Walk the feet in close to the hips and walk the feet together. Have the blocks next to your knees. You can start really high if your hips are pretty tight. Whoops. Bye, kitty. Or a little lower, or onto the lowest. I do recommend you put a little something under your knees. Have a little curve at the low back, so lift the low back off the floor a little bit by tilting the pelvis forward. And find a nice comfy version of this pose. Once you're here, place your hands to the low belly in a triangle. Even if it's scary, try this. Even just for one breath. You know, just noticing the resistance. All that is stuck energy. It is safe. Ground the mind in the moment through the breath. And just feel. I recommend staying here for at least 10 minutes. You're clearing. Think of it as when we have painful body image. The waters of Swadhisthana are kind of like sewage water. And that's no judgment, it's just what is. There's dirt, those malas we talked about in the first chakra module, the second module. As we clear those, the water cleans up, and it's just the breath. The breath is cleansing. You don't have to detox your body. We need to detox through the breath. We need to detox our minds. Let your life flow, let your emotions flow, your creativity flow, your intuition, your desires. When you're feeling fat in this area of the body, or when you're feeling guilty for your emotions, or what you intuit, or what you want to create, come to the second chakra for some work. Nurture this part of the body. And you can stay here if you like. When you do come out of the pose, help your legs together. Maybe hug the knees to the chest. Maybe circle them around here again. And then roll onto the right side for a few breaths. I'm going to press up, just rolling towards you. Rest there like you're coming out of Savasana. And then finishing your practice, if you like, with an Om. Remember, you are Atman, spark of the divine. Thank you for spending time with me, for sharing some of your journey with me. Feel free to connect. Feel free to be the truest you. Namaste.